Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Future Friday, we're gonna talk about humans are getting dumb and they are getting dumb faster. So what the hell is happening here? So let me be very clear. I'm reasonably sure in last 4 to 5 years, you must have noticed way too many articles came out, way too many research paper came out that we are getting dumber. So the first question should be, were we ever getting smarter? Well, the answer is factually yes. It was classified as Flynn effect. Now, the idea with Flynn effect is that we humans always wanted to figure out what makes someone quote unquote smart. Can we make dumb smart? We always wanted to do that. I mean, like as back as like in an ancient Hindu civilization to like Indus Valley civilization to Roman civilization, whatever have you, we always wanted to do that. So we worked our ass off to create a set of tests, to set of created basically puzzle solving equations which allowed us to gauge to some extent, not to precise it, not like you get this, that means you reach. That's not how accurate it is, but it's there, and collectively it's really precise. Collectively it's surprisingly precise. So we created these sort of test, and the test was designed for extracting fluid and crystallization intelligence. Basically, intelligence have multiple vector, and that could be a topic of its own, but the idea is we do our best to extract as much intelligence essence as much we can. Basically, we want a number that can tell us like relative intelligence to each other. It's like if you have 100, this guy has 90, that means 99% of the time you will be able to better solve a basically this puppy problem. So it's one of those things. And we tried our best, and I mean every country that figured it out, every country that they could do records, could do anything about it, they did their best to keep track of this. And I mean, we were doing this as early as 1900. We have 1 century of it. So we did that, and it's worldwide collected. Now it is, again, of course, other countries joined in a bit later and all that jazz, but we have our best data on this. And what we have seen, if you trace the data over long term, that every country, every nation, every continent over time is getting better and better and better and better. That's awesome. But be mindful, the effects are slow. So you have to do what we call decade by decade. You cannot be like year by year. It will have too much noise. But you do decade by decade, then it's an absolute trend. Basically, global average is there. Americans are there. Europeans are there. Asians simply went missile up. Africans are still a bit behind, but they will catch up in around 5 to 10 years from now, or maybe 2 decades at best. So you can see that like this is cumulative, basically planet-wide, and this is a planet-wide graph of based on intelligence. Basically, the places that are green, they have generally higher IQs. The places that are closer to red, they do not have that much IQ. Now, again, poverty has direct relationship to that. Like poverty has effect on intelligence. Absolutely, your brain is one of the most complex muscle in your body. This puppy consumes resources. Now, how the heck you gonna feed it resources if you do not have it? Meaning, if you're not eating good food, if you're not eating regularly, this gets compromised. It's an engine. If you're not feeding it good oil, if you're not feeding it good lubrication, if you're not changing out its filter and all that, it's gonna suffer. So it's a normal thing. It's like starved children are not very intelligent. It's like, bro, obviously. It's like, how have you seen how much Arnold Schwarzenegger needs to eat? So it's one of those things. And this also takes a lot of energy, like lot of energy and nutrition and quality nutrition. You cannot just, feed whatever you want to feed about it. So we are doing our best, and results are in. It's a very good, and we are getting better and better and better. So everything is awesome, and it's almost like universal at this point. Universal as in like planet wide. Is like we have it, we know the data. Of course, some people are going faster, some people are going slower, and some people say IQ does not matter that much. But here's the deal, collectively, that's why I specified, not on individual level, but on a collective level, it's a very precise tool. And people realize its benefit, meaning our medical science became better, our agriculture became far more robust, our weather analysis, everything, basically every facet of intelligence that human had grew, exponentially grew in last 100 years, and we could do things that we could not even imagine before that. So things worked, things got better. Now question is why? Like what was causing this Asian missile launch? So there were multiple faceted answer to that. Basically, it's not one thing or do this equals GG intelligence. That's not how it works. But there are multiple things that are working. For example, nutrition, good. Education, good. Health, really good. Family, awesome. So now why I'm talking about family is because that before that, people were dying way too much. Now, like, wouldn't we had world wars in this century? Yes, absolutely, we had world wars, but you have to understand, death is death. It does not matter to you whether you die from a nuclear going poof or somebody going poof to you. Basically, if you die by a knife, you still die. You die by a nuclear fire, you still die. It does not make any difference. So you dying in small, skirmishes that nobody will even note down in a history book was ludicrously high, meaning people's lifespan was not high. That's what I talked about in my population explosion myth, is that back in the day, death was much more powerful. So family unit was barely hanging on. It was like doing their best to hang on to it. Now we like in 1900s, we're like, we got this, fam. We got this. We got the family. We got this. So this was a good phase of humanity. Then we come to the dip part. That happened, and we had Tide Pod challenge. And yes, I'm dunking on them, but because you have to understand, there is an Indian trend of this. We call it chapri. Do not Google it. I will not be responsible for the brain damage that you will occur to yourself. And I do not want to contaminate my monitor by showing that. So, but it happened worldwide, as in like India, China, USA, European Union, and yes, China is also suffering from that. They are not showing it. They are very good at hiding it, but it's happening. And be mindful, you are talking about a country that's literally had hard time cloning. I'm not even joking. Ballpoint pens ball. Not exaggerating. Factually true. So every country is like, it's something at this point in time that everybody noticing. Everyone who has the luxury of studying 30 years of data is like, yeah, it's no longer just like, little this year we had a rough batch. No. It's like, oh, this year we thought we had rough batch. Next batch is like, bro, they were a genius. Next one is like, bro, no. The other it's like, no, really no. So you have to understand. And what happened, basically this invert of our intelligence happened. Basically our young, meaning the people who came after me, is unable to outsmart the old. Like, do we want a generation? Yes, that's exactly what we want. You never want to be a father whose child is not smarter than you. It's like, if I'm the father, I want my child to be smarter than me. I would be a horrible father if my child is not smarter than me. So that's natural. That's how things go. And that's the sole reason why humanity is so powerful, is that an elephant cannot teach its whole life experience to the youngling very efficiently. It can try its best, but it's not very efficient. We are damn good at it. Like basically, if 10 gigabytes of data was generated through your life experience, as in like your father before your birth, he can transfer almost 8 GB of it to you. And you will do the same. You will collect your own life experience. Now you will have, let's say, 20 GB of data. And then when your sons comes along, you can literally pass on to a very large throughput to that. And we are very successful. And that's the whole reason we are cumulatively building intelligence. And brick by brick, day by day, we reach to the moon. So everything is awesome. That's how it should be. Like basically engineers that are coming in 1800 should be like, we are much better than 1700 guys. And engineers that should come in 1900, that were like, bro, we are much better than you. And they should also wish that by the time 1900 engineers like, bro, they have children throwing temper tantrum. Of course, with a respect and all that, but should be like, bro, you're good, but we got this. And again, same thing will happen, but people are noticing that's no longer happening in many fronts. And I mean, like colleges, universities, people are like, bro, you're younger than me. You should already know this. And like we worked our ass off to teach you these things, but somehow it did not, like the file did not load in the operating system. Basically, the CD did not went, or the floppy drive did not went inside. There is some blockage there. And everybody is noticing it at this point in time. And everybody part is the scary part, is simply because back in the day, as in like 4 years ago, the first time people noticed that something is bad happening with the intelligence, and I mean cumulative intelligence. A few years ago, more research were done, and they were like, yeah, no, USA is still going up. And by the time I'm making this video, few data sets come out just few days ago, and it was like, no, even USA is collapsing, and it's collapsing hard, like Tide Pod kind of hard. So that's a very, very, very serious thing. And most scary part of it is that we do not know what exactly. Like we do not have like, oh, this is what we messed up. Because again, same way we fixed it, we did not have like this equals good. We do not have this equals bad. And there is a very good chance, or very scary chance, that it's also a multifaceted problem. Meaning there are way too many variables that we messed up, and it would be very difficult to fix it. What are those variables? One of the variables that I did not even knew about it or even heard about it is EDC. These are a group of chemicals. These are like sort of hormone blockers, like endocrine blocking system sort of say. And they directly have been proven to cause neural damage. Basically, how lead poisoning is there, think of it that way, like just much more subtle version of it, but it does cause damage. And we used this puppy like there is no tomorrow in 1900s. Like late 1900s, we developed this through industrial revolution, and the toxicity, it took us time to realize, no, these things are toxic, and things got out of hand, and people are working their ass off to remove this from our supply chain, but it's too integrated. Like, and like from bad plastics to bad fertilizer to way too many things has this. So we are working our ass off to remove this, and it's a known thing. It's like how lead is a known poison. This is the same thing. We just do not know how much effect this alone had. Then we had TikTok. Let's not talk about it. And then we have a weird aspect is that over reliance on technology. Now this is one thing you have to understand. This is a muscle. Like exactly this puppy is this. Now, if you exercise this, it grows, it becomes better, it becomes wiser. If you do not exercise this, it withers away, it atrophies, and it goes poof. You could have intelligence. Basically, the hardware, your hardware could be like, bro, I'm 120, or let's say 150. That's in your genius level IQ. And you're not polishing yourself, you're not pushing yourself, you're gonna fade away. Like, I'm not even joking, you're just gonna, gone. So you need something like, literally, that's why people say, no, like talent loses to hard work if talent stops to do hard work. Basically, talent has to do hard working, because someone who does not have talent but keep hard working, they will always win simply because they're polishing it much more. So you need that, like, grind, you need that polish. So that over reliance on technology can deal with you in two ways. For example, let's say I'm bad at math, but what will I do? I will create a scripts. I will use all my intelligence to make let's say scripts to, okay, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to force my brain to deal with bigger numbers. Now, because again, it's just a calculation, I want my brain to deal with much larger number, like how much hydrogen you have to make in order to feed a nation, like how much water consumption will be required, like, large things. Now I'm forcing my brain. Again, I'm weak in this part, but I'm not letting my brain rot. But imagine in this way, let's say all you can do is like pull out your mobile phone, do a calculation, the end. But you're not pushing yourself. At that point in time, the over-reliance on technology backfires on you. It makes you dumber than your ancestor. Then we come to destruction of family. Now, this is the most horrifying thing of humanity, but it did happen. Now, you have to understand, family is the reason why humans are so powerful, because we literally went against natural selection. Natural selection is survival of the fittest. It's not monogamous. What we are is like, no, survival of the family. Natural selection be damned. And brick by brick, day by day, generation after generation, centuries after centuries, eon after eon, we became god tier because of family. And in recent times, as in like last 65 years, family started to fall apart. Now, why? Again, multifaceted answer, but if I have to fire a missile to fix this, of course, it has to be a time missile. It has to go back in time and boom, the freaking administrative people who were writing the legislation, the poison they put in the legislation. It was like, when Japan was writing that legislation, like again, people even there, they knew if you sign this legislation, brick by brick, your country will fall apart. And boom, the country fall apart. Basically, South Korea, boom, your country fall apart. Russia, boom, your country fall apart. America, boom, your country falls apart. It's like, how many countries you have to burn before you realize, yeah, we messed up. But again, past tense, I can't do anything about it, and I don't have a time machine. But again, this directly causes an effect on human psychology, because if your emotional circuit is always overwhelmed, either by stress or by loneliness, your muscles will be like, it will work their ass off to fix that issue rather than growing. Then we have failure of education system. At this point in time, everyone who is dealing with it is like, figure out education system is just not working. Like India suffered the worst fate of this simply because we were just coming out of poverty. Basically, after independence, it took us like a lot of hard work and labor to come out of poverty. At that point in time, we were too stressed, like really, really stressed. Like, you have to understand, this is like a national level stress where everybody was stressed. Not as in like, oh, like, I'm so stressed. It's like there was a uncertainness. Like, it was not like tomorrow would be awesome. It was like, we have to keep working, we have to keep working. And we, unfortunately, literally got a bad idea in someone parenting head, where it's like, beat your kid. And I'm not joking. And I mean, really beat your kid. Like, people talk about like Asians, brutal. India is on a whole different level. Like, beat the kid, living, boom the kid, and it will become Einstein. Now, we have sacrificed thousands per year during board exams, and outcome is nothing. We don't have a single Einstein. So that did cause a serious malfunction. It's like, no, just no. So our education system have failed. And this goes with everywhere. Like, everywhere people are like coming out of education system, they're like, dude, what the hell did you taught me? Like, what the hell? Like, I genuinely want to literally terminate everyone who is dealing with the education system and who's like, why not put tax system here? Like, your nation has a complicated tax system. Put that in school book. If I know how to make money, I should know how to file taxes. If there are taxes have that forums, I should know where to look it up. I should know where to do this. It's like, if I know how to make money, filing taxes on that money should be easier. But it's not. Why? Because you did not taught at that. You're like, you can figure it out. But nobody can figure it out because it's like brain damaged people wrote it, and you have to hire a CA. I'm not even joking. Like I'm luxurious enough where I'm like dealing with very smart people. I'm like genuinely smart people, like people who have IQ of 130 or 140, like smart people. But even their answer is like, bro, just hire a CA. It's like that means one individual has to give their whole life to figure out taxing system, because we did not teach it to children. So our education system has failed flat out. Like education system, 100% failure rate. Boom, done, fail, 100% useless. And then we have information overload. That happens to adults, meaning we are jacked into the matrix 24/7. This puppy is not designed to work that much. It likes to be worked, but it does not like to work. It's like it gets oversaturated. At that point in time, no data has any value, no data has any weightage, and it's just noise. Like you cannot focus on anything because again, information overload. So all these things cause the dip. Then we come to the part that I'm noticing and I'm scared of it. Basically, kids born in 2000s know less about technology than kids born in 90s. That's the most scary thing about it. And again, I can see it. That's why it's scaring me, because this is like my field, quote unquote. So I'm like, bro, this is scary. And what does that mean? That simply means kids that are born in 2000, they can handle tech, because at this point in time, they will be year 2023. They will be around 23 years old, so 20s. And they can use tech, no discussion about it. They can use tech. But in terms of, do they control the tech? No. Like, that's the scary part. Like, even basic settings in their mobile phone is not something that they can control or tamper with. They know how to use Wi-Fi, but ask them how to configure the router. They're like, what the hell? So it's one of those things that's very scary. And it creates a very serious scenario, because in India, which is the world's tech support, I have found out, this literally hurt me to find out, is that there are 20-year-olds people, kids, who are paying money to someone else to format their hard drive, to format their laptop. And I'm like, how the heck this happened to India? Like, we supposed to be so smart. It's like, bro, I got this. Like, I figured this out, how to do formatting before internet, before having a smartphone to run a YouTube tutorial right next to me while I have a computer. How the heck this happened? And these are college kids. They're not like illiterate. No, they're educated. They should be like they should be like, bro, this is chamcha, 5 minutes, done, take it and go home. Like, this is genuinely scary that people are actually paying someone to do something as basic as formatting a system. And they don't even know which hardware they have. Like, if you asked anyone in basically born in 90s what computer they are, there is a very good chance they can tell you a whole spec sheet. Like, oh, I have this, maybe not the exact model, because the numbering scheme is stupid. It's like, I think I had, like, my first computer, I had Core 2 Duo E9300 or 9400, something stupid like that. But I know that it was Core 2 Duo. I know it had like a 2 or 4 GB of RAM, and this many hard drive and all that jazz. Most people, like, it's HP, it's Dell, it's Apple. Don't know what exactly is in there. That's genuinely scary. Like, I came from this, my man. I came from this. And kids coming from this, basically Nintendo, Switch and 3DS and all that jazz, they know less. Like, this is a mess to them. It's like, what is this? This is like, I do not understand it. And any child could understand this, like, from my generation. Like, I can do BIOS update. Most people are now making a meme about BIOS updates. It's like, what the hell happened to this world? So that is genuinely scary, genuinely. And internet, like, this is the part that truly was like, whoa. It's especially in India, I genuinely hope you Westerners do not have to deal with this, is that when I asked people, like children around 20-year-old, and it's like, bro, how good is your internet? They're like, yeah, I have Wi-Fi. I'm like, no. What is your internet? Like, who is providing you the Wi-Fi? It's like, I don't know. Like, if you ask me, I'm like, okay, I have JioFiber. Ask my friends, they're like, oh, I have Airtel Extreme. Oh, I have TrendNet. They know, like, there is a source, and they can tell you, like, fiber, your DSL or cable. They can tell you it's coax or fiber or DSL. Like, we are very clear about that. And India has one of the best internet service out there, flat out. I'm not even joking. Like, you have to go. And again, yeah, we are the cheapest, practically speaking. So, from a country that has that much resources, from a country that is known for its intelligence and known for tech support, how the heck I ended up in a country that literally every time I'm asking someone is like, hey, how's your internet? Like, what exactly is providing you internet? Even then I'm asking, is like, hey, do you know? Like, and it's their household, not PG, not like, doing something else. They cannot tell. That scared me. Now, this is tech illiteracy, and more and more people around the world is like, yeah, children are no longer like, we thought they are using it from childhood. Apparently, they can just handle the GUI layer. Anything below that, not even below, as in like, oh, there is things that do things. It's complicated to them. there are consequences of that. This is another aspect. You may think like when like young influencer, it's like I just pay someone to build my computer. It's like doing that out of laziness or doing that out of limit of time, that makes sense. But doing it because you cannot do it yourself, that's scary. That's scary because again, that normalizes the fact that you do not know how to deal with computers. And here's the reason why it's scary, because you have to understand, my dad, he's retired now, he used to work in banks. Now banks were manual. I'm not even joking, they were actually manual. Now he, in his career of 30 years, he literally went from manually doing everything to actually switching to computers that are interlinked to like going to full online system. Brick by brick it happened. So company, as in like the bank, paid their basically staff paid time off, go and study computers. Like they even arranged courses and all that jazz. So even he had to learn computers. He had to like, no, I have to figure it out what it is. And like, he was showing me like, oh, how CD has so much information than, basically floppy drive. Again, it was new to him and he was learning, he had to learn it. Now compare that to us. We cannot imagine a world without computer, and how the heck we don't know anything about it. That's the scary part. Our day-to-day life depends on it. If you do not know which is your supplier of internet, how would you know what is the issue? Like they can keep trolling you. They may be giving you a crappy service and they're like, and you may, let's say, put a new brand new router, and if they want to troll you, they're like, no sir, our net is fine. I think your router is fine. And now you keep changing routers. People have fallen for this. Not joking. So it's one of those things that it is so essential, so important to us, and we do not know it. Now, consequence of that is that corporation is like, dumb customer, best customer ever. How about I take your money? How about I take your rights? How about I take your control? It's just like little by little. Not, of course, they're not going to go, bam. They're never going to do that. They were like little by little. Like think about this, like how we are so done with privacy. It's like we were not aware. We like the next generation do not even know. It's like, oh, privacy is a thing that is important. It's like, oh, really? So it's one of those things, they can take control little by little. And by the time you realize that you no longer have control, generally it's too late. So that's a serious issue. And what does it mean? That simply means most people do not understand the severity of right to repair. Every Tom, Dick and Harry is like, we have to protect the environment, we have to pollute less. How about you produce less e-waste? Everything will be better, because again, if you are producing less e-waste, that fundamentally means you are consuming less electronics, because our population is not exploding anymore. So mathematically it's not. And all things considered, if your products lasted much longer, you will consume less and everything will be happier, because again, less e-waste, awesome. Things that are lasting, much better for your pocket, much less stressful for you. So everything would be awesome. Everybody will win if we had that, but people don't even know. Because again, it's the black box is like Black Mirror, how we had that TV show. It's like black magic to them. It's like, I don't know what it is. It's like, dude, it's a human-made technology. It's not alien. If alien made it, I would like, bro, don't touch it. But we made it. We know how it's made. So that creates a very serious issue where companies can take your things away and they will not even notice it. Like how farmers lost brick by brick, day by day, like little by little. And because we had dumb constituencies, like they were like, John Deere want to just destroy the farmers. It's like, who cares? It's like, bro, your food will get destroyed if that happens. So it's one of those things that genuinely scares me, is that the next generation is just flat out not aware, not able to grasp, like, dude, it is important. And it just works. This is the most dangerous mindset out there, simply because it fundamentally gives your control to someone else, basically making you dependent and controllable. Think of it this way. Let's say you are working on Final Cut Pro. So there are two types of people. First, who are video editors. They can work on any tool. Of course, they will be, let's say they are experienced with Final Cut. They will be like, bro, I'm smooth in this. If you force me to go to Adobe Premiere, it will be painful, but I'll manage. And if you force them to go to DaVinci Resolve, I'll manage. There will be a learning curve, but they'll sort this puppy out. And if they go to DaVinci, they can actually go to Linux also. So they can really do it, and many people have done that. Those are video editor class. That's what companies do not like. What companies like is like, no, ours just work. Now, when you create that ecosystem, just works, that creates a scenario where it's like, no, you are not a video editor, you are an Apple-based video editor. Meaning, if I remove your Apple laptop, give you something else, let's say framework laptop, you fundamentally cannot work anymore. Like, even though all the tools are there, yes, it will be a bit more difficult, but your skill set has been tailored in such a way where it's like, oh, I have to relearn, I have to adapt, like I have to create my adaptability vector also alive. I cannot be just like depend on the Apple gods. Yeah, now that creates an issue. So company wants that. Company wants that just works. So you lose all your control. You lose your adaptability, where it's like, oh, this does not work. Yeet, I'm working on this. Oh, this does not. Yeet, I'm working on this. And companies hate that, because here's the deal, like example, Joe Rogan was saying like flat out, like you can watch his video, it's like, dude, Apple will never do that, they will never tamper with the battery, they will never reduce its capacity. When it came out that they did that, it's like, and that's the part, that's the penalty of it just works. You cannot jump, you cannot be just like, you know what, I'm out. And again, companies want this, companies love this, whereas like, you cannot do anything, I will sell you shit and you will buy it as a gold. So that's awesome from company's point of view, horrible from point of environment and you. And without fallback skill, you are limited, like you are seriously limited. And imagine it's like, you do not understand the security, you do not understand router, you do not understand how the tech security ecosystem works. Somebody steals your identity, you go to jail for that. And again, yeah, maybe in 2-3 years you will be pulled out of there. Maybe somebody feel, oh, this individual is not the right individual and all that, but good luck, government bureaucracy, good luck with that. But if you knew it, then it improves your survival odds. It does not guarantee it. It's not like armor. It's nothing will pass through it. It just gives you better survivability. So there are consequences of becoming dumb. Like where you cannot go past the shine, past the first fancy layer, there is penalty, like genuine penalty. And company wants you to be like, ooh, it's black magic, we cannot do this. So let's talk about the ticking clock event of it. It's like, what kind of industry we used to have? We used to have a world where old people, as in like people born in 1960s and 70s, used to repair cars. They're like, bro, car, I got this. They used to repair it. They're like, okay, car is there. Like I knew people who were like repairing their trucks, not even joking, trucks in their household. Like, of course, not engine rebuild, that required a bit more tools, but they could do it. So we went from that sort of generation which could repair cars, do house wiring, I can also do it, repair home appliances, somewhat I can do it, car repairing I can do it to some extent, to literally next generation, that kids who are born in basically 2000s, treating it like it's magic. I'm genuinely not joking that there are kids who have muscles there, like GG muscles, they cannot change car tires. Not joking. Like genuinely scary. And he's like, oh, this switch is broken, here's a buy new switch and just replace it. It's like, what? Dude, it's electronics. We figured this puppy out in 1800s. You can do it. My grandfather did it. His grandfather did it. You can do it. You can watch a tutorial while doing it. It's easy. But we can't. We treat it like magic. And here's the deal. If you are treating electricity like magic, imagine what will you treat with silicon technology, semiconductor, AI technology. That creates a very serious issue. This sort of ecosystem where we used to have this. It's like, bro, I got this. House wiring, I got this. Of course, you will pay someone to do house wiring, not because you cannot do it, simply because it's efficient. It's like, can I do my whole house wiring? Absolutely. Why don't I do it? It will take me time, very long time. That's the difference between professional and you. It's like, professional will do things like the right way, taking their time and all that. They will still be done in 1 week. It will take me 2 months. And I'm being optimistic. So Adam Savage used to say that, and now I understand what he was to say. Again, like, it's a normal thing, it's like common things, you can do that. But that creates an issue. If we are so illiterate, so incapable and incompetent in terms of our surroundings, where electricity is magic, where we cannot, oh, this is a 2.5 square mm cable, this is 5 mm square cable. Like, if we can't read those data, how the heck you expect us to understand AI? So that creates a very serious issue. Whereas like, we do not have to worry about AI taking our jobs. We will be incompetent. We will be incapable of actually holding down the job. Basically, one current generation phases out, basically leaves the job world. Literally, job world will be like, bam, no competent engineers are coming. Basically, every engineers that are coming after us would be weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. And even though corporate who loved leeching everything, even they will be like, I can't buy my 6th yacht, my man. There is nobody who's building yachts anymore. So that could happen. And I'm not even joking, like, that is a very serious on the horizon kind of system at this point in time. So we need wisdom, and we need it now. We need going back to this ecosystem where like people used to take care of things. And again, I'm talking about technology point of view, because this is something you have to understand. If you grew up from an ecosystem where you're fixing things rather than throwing them away, you will do the same thing with your family. You will do the same thing with your relationship. You will do the same thing with your friendship, because that's how your ecosystem must work. That's how this works. But if you train this puppy, it's like, yeet, yeet. Every time bad things will happen, you'll yeet it. And at the end of the life, some life will yeet you. So it's a ticking clock event. We really have to get down to it, solve it, do our best to fix it, because we are running out of time. So this was my presentation on basically, are we getting dumber and we are getting dumber faster. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it up with a friend. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.